to De Anza College for the 3C2A Soccer Championships on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Hello again, everybody. Jeff Stoynoff, very pleased to be joined by Joe Hickey today for our doubleheader championships here in the 3C2A. And Joe, we'll start with the women's championship up first as San Diego Mesa College prepares to take on Santiago Canyon. And let's start with San Diego Mesa. 22-1-2 on the season. They've been dominating, but don't be fooled by the record. They've also had their fair share of high drama here in the postseason.
Yeah, certainly 3 of their 4 matches so far this postseason have been level going into the 80th minute. They actually trailed in the 88th and into stoppage time against Citrus. Very nearly didn't get out of the first round. Won that on penalties. And then the last 2 rounds, they've been advanced by goals within the final 10 minutes. Nye Beltran-Mendoza in the regional final and an own goal yesterday. Or Friday, rather.
And we turn our attention to Santiago Canyon, and you would almost forget that this is the defending champion here in the 3C2A. Not a standard story this season. The record 17-3-3, the number 3 seed in the South region. But yet, you look amidst all that and stuff that you'll get into. Here they are, just one step away from repeating as champions.
Indeed, they've been a bit of a work in progress. Only 4 returners from last year's title team, and certainly only 4 that were on the field during that process. It's a down year by their standards. For the first time in 15 years, they didn't win their conference championship, displaced by the eventual 1-seed undefeated Cyprus. Coach Ian Woodhead told us that really what he's been looking for all year is for them to grow, absorb each of those disappointments, and be ready to peak at the right time, and it sure looks like they have.
The last storyline that we want to get to here as the teams are going through the final preparation for the match and starting to take the field is the weather, and we were laughing about it a little bit as we're under the canopy here, but rain expected all day. But these 2 teams from the San Diego area, I guess it's advantage no one. I can't imagine that either team really has a lot of experience playing in these conditions, but you have to expect that it will be a factor.
It's certainly a team like San Diego Mesa that prides themselves on team speed and trying to feed the ball occasionally to feet into the wings. You're going to have to calibrate those balls a little bit differently with the slick surface. But Coach Woodhead really mentioned more so than precipitation that it was wind that was the problem on Friday. And so in today's match, we're at the very least, the rain is falling straight down. Not a whole lot of wind. We're happy about that for our electronics equipment, and I'm sure Coach Woodhead is happy about that. It'll make it a little easier to get the ball down and play it on the ground from there. All right, so just about ready to get rolling here in our state women's final. Your lineups as San Diego Mesa get ready to kick off, going right to left across your YouTube scroll bar. They are in the all-white road kit rather. San Diego Canyon in their standard home kit as the higher seed, blue over black, and we are underway in the women's state championship here on the 3C2A. We'll give you those lineups here in just a moment, but we'll enter into commentary for the time being. The ball in control of Schwadell, the center back, tries to immediately put one forward for the run of Violet Renard, the state's leading scorer. With the ball out over on the far sideline, we'll give you a look at the starters. So for San Diego Mesa, Alyssa Warner starting in goal, the sophomore out of Steel Canyon, .31 goals against average. Actually, we'll wait for just a moment as the ball is put forward immediately to the pink-clad number 00 for San Diego Mesa. Warner out to claim the first San Diego Canyon attempt. That defense, though, will consist of Lena Samuels, the 18, Alexis Schwadell, the 5, Iana Sines, the 9, and Nikki Miranda, the 11. A 3-woman midfield is being bypassed at the moment in favor of getting it forward to Kenya Dantu. Ball out for a throw. Yasmin Ortega, the number 3. Elena Jaramillo, the 6, who forced the mistake at the back by Lake Tahoe that led to the own goal. With her pressure coming forward, a nice run out of the midfield, along with the 8, Nicole Buckley. Forward line we'll get to in just a moment. It's Tara Hansel, though, right now on the ball near the right corner, putting in a cross. Out comes the goalkeeper and whiffs at that, but lucky for her, Chloe Helenihi not able to get onto the end of it. Trying to put another ball down into the left corner and guarded by Nikki Miranda. We'll see here Helenihi for a moment thought that she got the touch. We're getting opposing indications. Our center official, Samantha Moose, indicated goal kick. We did see a signal, on the other hand, from the AR on this side, Devlin Creighton, that perhaps that was going to be a corner. The decision, though, goes the way of the center.
Yeah, you saw the replay there moments ago, and Warner electing to come out and try and play that centering pass, and it's a dangerous decision that almost resulted in a great look for Helenihi.
We certainly saw a lot of good organized work from Santiago Canyon in the semifinal against Delta. Seeing a little bit of that right now. Brianna Diaz trying to get turned. That shot partially deflected. No. Goal kick given here as that drifts wide left. First attempted shot here in minute number 3. Finishing off our lineups, the forward line for San Diego Mesa, Caitlin Klapinski, Kenya Dantu, and Violet Renard. Amongst them you have the leading assist woman in the state in Klapinski and the leading goal scorer in the state in Renard. It was Renard who had the assist yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, in the semifinal.
First meeting of the season between these two teams, despite the geographic closeness.
Ball claimed here by Canyon. We'll get you their lineup in just a moment as the ball's put over the right side looking for the lone striker, Alex Vanis. Bit too long, well guarded by Signs and punted deep by Warner. Hannah Ross Kelly, one of 2 Ross Kelly sisters on the field, managing to take that away from Violet Renard. Here's the other one, Ashley. That'll be dropped back into the defensive line. Brianna Diaz, her pass intercepted, and Mesa will look to spring here. A deflection favoring Ortega, and now here's a ball into the right wing for Klapinski. Excuse me, for Violet Renard, rather. Renard, sliding challenge a little early there from Kendra Korth, the center back, tracking back. Drop back, and another opportunity to try to put one forward is going to go over the back line. Quickly, Canyon's lineup: Ariana Radia in goal, Maddie Myers, Kendra Korth, Jacqueline Alba Diaz, Caitlin Lopez in the defense, Ashley Ross Kelly and Hannah Ross Kelly, a pair of holding midfielders, and then a line of 3 attacking mids behind the lone striker, Alex Vanis. That's Tara Hansel, Chloe Helenihi, and Brianna Diaz. Diaz on the ball right now, looking for the right shape on this for Tara Hansel. Out comes Warner, and she will claim that and avoid the collision.
3 separate times in the early moments that you've seen the long pass into space trying to get behind that back line for Mesa. They've gotten a couple of good looks out of it early.
This is where we have the contrast in style between these clubs. Very direct approach for Santiago Canyon, not afraid to bypass the lines and try to find that. They've got a couple of midfielders and, for that matter, a center back who have a pretty good boot. A lot of confidence there. A giveaway in the 3-quarter zone. Vanis trying to slide it in for Diaz. Cleared by Mesa. San Diego Mesa, on the other hand, generally prefers to try to play the ball to feet, although they had some success on Friday bypassing that plan a little bit to try to surprise Tahoe. Had to do something to get out of a very congested midfield in that game.
Yeah, I think I misspoke earlier with Santiago Canyon talking about having the good looks early.
I'm taken at this point to referring to them as Canyon and Mesa because Santiago and San Diego sound way too similar when you say them quickly.
Whatever shorthand works for you, Jim.
There you go. Although it does make it sound like possibly an Arizona championship if you're talking about Mesa and Canyon. Yasmin Ortega controlling a ball at the midfield stripe for Mesa. Ball forward for Dantu, gets under her foot. Back in pursuit is Alba Diaz, working it forward now to Caitlin Lopez. Giveaway inside the 3-quarter zone, work to the feet of Renard. A foot race there between Klapinski and Maddie Myers. Going to be won by the 13 in blue.
Here's Myers, I believe, yeah.
Yep. Nice give and go off the throw in. Here comes Klapinski, rolls the ball in on the ground looking for Renard. Cut off there by Ashley Ross Kelly. It'll be today's first corner kick.
And trying to lead Renard, and that's good anticipation by Ross Kelly.
Looks like Kenya Dantu will be the one to head over and put this into the mixer.
first set piece coming for either team.
12 assists on the season, including 1 in the second round against Cerritos for Dantu. Wouldn't be surprising if they come from positions like this. Here comes the ball in. Trying to meet it at the near post was the 11, Nikki Miranda. That's deflected out, though, for another corner kick for the Olympians. Absolutely everyone across the midfield stripe with the exception of Alyssa Warner in goal right now for the Olympians. Here comes the ball in, bypasses the first line, deflected off the 2, Klapinski. That'll go out for a goal kick. A similar story on Friday. The only real opportunities that Mesa created in the first half came by way of set pieces. Had a very tough time getting through the midfield of the Coyotes of Tahoe. Some whistles here for a hand control by Tara Hansel. That's not going to be sanctioned by the match official, though. Perhaps just at the wrong angle to spot it. Hansel rolls this one in. Diaz trying to arrive, but up steps Iana Sainz. Claims that. The ball out of the back line is going to be claimed by Renard. Good slide here to hold that play up by Alba Diaz. Still Renard. That composure that we saw late in the semifinal continuing, and Renard's off to a run on the left side if they can find her. Instead, they elect to play it short. Samuels back to Buckley. Hoofs a ball to a diagonal run from Klapinski. Cut off there, but Ortega claims. Out wide to Samuels with some space, able to chase that down and keep it in play. Neat step over to get around a defender, and now space for a cross. That is going to get by Renard as she dives in and claimed by a thankful Radia.
Yeah, trying to lead Renard, not sure how much of an angle Renard was really going to have on a shot.
Certainly that run was going to carry her pretty deep into the left bottom corner of the box. Ball up the right sideline here, out for a Mesa throw. Foul called here as Hannah Ross-Kelly tangles with Elena Jaramillo. Interesting story, the Ross-Kellys. Ashley was a member of the 2017 team that lost in the semifinals to the eventual champions Fresno on penalty kicks. Was expecting to come back and be a leader of the 2018 team as we have another foul at the other end. But a few games into the season tore her ACL and was forced to miss one of the more successful campaigns in Santiago Canyon history as they went 24-0 and won the title. Back this year, as we said, a bit of a challenging season for them, and the benefit here has been being part of a real fun run here in the postseason and also getting to play alongside her sister, which was not expected initially. Flag up on this side for offside. A free kick to come here for Mesa. Buckley looking for Renard. Good tangle there with Alba Diaz, who appears to be absorbing the responsibility of sticking to the 19 in white. Dantu looking to spray this out. It's a foot race, won by Klapinski as she beats Tara Hansel to it coming back. A little miscommunication between Renard and Dantu.
Yeah, couldn't tell if Renard maybe had a little trouble handling that pass.
It's coming at a fair rate of knots there. A little confusion there as the signal from our AR on that far sideline, Vince Apple-Chiarella, as not observed by San Diego Mesa for a moment. Coming together there, Renard had seemed to escape with the ball, but the referee's going to call things back here. It might be Jaramillo or no, Ortega on the ground. Friday's goal actually started with Ortega on the ground, a little bit of advantage played, and in her absence, the team able to convert an opportunity. A couple lucky deflections and eventually a clearance into the net that Mesa wanted the ball to end up in. Buckley driving the free kick to the edge of the 18-yard box, met there by Santiago Canyon's defense. Schwadel, though, losing a challenge, and it's an opportunity for a break, 3-on-4. Here comes Vanis, putting it to the left side for Helenihi. Entering the 18 from there, here comes the hard cross, and that is going to hit, I think, the hand of Warner, but perhaps also some woodwork.
Yeah, I think Warner got a piece and just deflected this wide, as we'll see on the replay here, and Helenihi almost drops it in just under the crossbar. Yeah, a little deflection there and a little bit wide.
Good alert goaltending. Of course, in a situation like that, you're a little stuck wondering whether to come out and challenge the cross or if you need to get ready for a header that might get on goal. Certainly once it was off of Helenihi's boot, there was no doubt about what to do. Well positioned.
Well, Warner's had a busy first 13 minutes.
Indeed. Brianna Diaz, who created the one Santiago Canyon goal off of a corner, had a brief moment of a deep inhalation of air there as Maddie Myers tried to put that on goal from about 35 yards out, just a little high.
You wonder what the adjustment we might see from San Diego Mesa as Canyon continues to have a lot of success attacking on the edges and centering up for good looks.
It's a little different from how they went about it on Friday. So Maddie Myers with that shot there, by the way, a player back from Ottawa University in Arizona. She came back to Santiago Canyon in part because she needed to be closer to home to take care of her mom, Tammy, who is battling ALS. And so, Tammy, if you are watching along with us today, glad to have you along and cheering on your Santiago Canyon Hawks. Foul in the defensive zone, and so a free kick here for Mesa. Well met by Ross Kelly. Another attempt, as you mentioned, Jeff, trying to get themselves into the wings. Here is Alex Vanis. She's got Hansel running in the box. The cross won't be quite long enough. Cleared up by Mesa, only as far as Ashley Ross Kelly, coming up with a bit of room to fire. Blast that off the back of Jaramillo. Still Canyon ball. Flag stays down on that new ball in. Back to Ross Kelly, trying to drop it over the defensive line. No one really running into that space, though, for Canyon. Still the defending champs in control. Ball deflected out and a throw to come from the far sideline.
Yeah, Mesa content just to give themselves a chance to set up here defensively.
And certainly weathering the early storm was essentially the game plan on Friday for them. Tahoe largely dominated the first half of their game, but it was a few halftime adjustments in terms of the approach. Helped them get on the front foot for most of the final 45 minutes. Ball dropped over the left wing. Brianna Diaz in pursuit. Schwadel forced to play it. That'll earn another attacking zone throw-in. We got Hansel and Hannah Ross Kelly lurking at the edge of the 18. It appears they're going to try for the long throw-in coming from Maddie Myers. This ball dropping near the edge of the 18, popped up with the head of Ross Kelly. Headed forward now by Vanis. A little bit of ping-pong between the heads here. Trying to chest it down is Hannah Ross Kelly. Ashley putting it in again to the top of the 18, again reflected by Mesa. And now Mesa look to get off to a counterattack. Nice touch by Renard to try to spring that Jaramillo up the right sideline, but touched out by Canyon. We'll have our first substitution of today's game. Looks like Ari Ravello coming in. One of the interesting subplots here for San Diego Mesa has been how frequently their big goals here in the postseason have come by way of bench players. Angela Smith, who we'll probably see later, referred to largely as the 12th woman, had a goal against Cerritos, the game winner in that match near halftime, the only one that didn't go all the way down to the wire. Ravello, for her part, was the one who scored the late equalizer against Citrus that kept the season alive there in round one.
Nice job by Ross Kelly, moving back on that play to knock that ball free and get it back for Santiago Canyon.
The ball intercepted at the midfield stripe. Buckley trying to bring it forward, cutting in on a diagonal and being interfered with slightly there is Nikki Miranda. Touched away, and now Canyon look to spring. Tara Hansel again off to a Route 1 run in a battle with Lena Samuels. She gets to it first. Here comes Tara Hansel, and a great bit of work by Alyssa Warner.
Yeah.
Got herself low.
Yeah, after Hansel won the 50-50 ball and got a great opportunity, and this is Warner keeping it scoreless.
Hansel certainly looked like she was going to dance right around the pink-clad Mesa keeper, but Warner at full stretch, leaping onto the rebound. Didn't quite have it settled on the first opportunity, but puts the fire out there. Nice cut by Nikki Miranda to cut off a ball that was destined to spring Helenihi down the left wing.
Yeah, good anticipation by Miranda. I think kind of baiting that pass.
Be a game within itself. Ross Kelly winning the drop kick. There's Helenihi again at full gallop, working on Jaramillo. Here comes the ball in on the ground to Vanis. Comes out to Warner after Vanis can't get a touch to it, and she beats Hansel to the ball.
You have the feeling that the aggressiveness from Warner is a response to the speed of that front line of Santiago Canyon. I think Warner just can't afford to wait for plays to develop. She's got to come out and try and anticipate and get balls a little bit further out in the box.
Yeah, she's really got no choice here, and she didn't have to do nearly as much in the early going against Tahoe. For as much as they dominated in possession, the defensive line managed to keep them from getting much of anything authoritatively on frame. It's a different team, though, here. Tahoe a little bit more of a mirror image of San Diego Mesa in that they like to play that technical game on the ground. Canyon, a very different team to defend against, and these long runs coming out of the midfield, the long balls coming out of the midfield, yeah, forcing a very different response from Warner. Free kick after a Mesa midfielder was upended. This would be a great opportunity to drop it over the back line if it was maybe 10 yards further forward. We'll see what Buckley elects to do. They're going to try that anyway. Lipinski struggling to settle the bounding ball here on the wet field, although we are happy to report that the rain has, at least for the time being, come to an end. Screaming for it down the right wing is Ari Ravello. Here comes an attempt to play a little bit of Santiago Canyon's game and loft one deep for a run. Radia alert to it and out to claim. Nicole Buckley, a smart header back to Lena Samuels, put her under a little bit of pressure there, but
it is just so tough to be aggressive on that back line for San Diego Mesa with the speed of Hansel and Helenihi and the way that they can get into space.
For sure, the turnovers in that area are going to be very costly if they continue. In the meanwhile, a couple more substitutions. While we weren't looking, Angela Smith has checked into the game. Now, I believe that's the 12, Nalia Nye Beltran Mendoza. So again, the other two scorers of either of game-winning goals in the second and third rounds coming in off the bench, Smith and Beltran Mendoza. Violet Renard putting on the pressure, but here comes the ball out of the back, chested by Lena Samuels. Little confusion there as Sainz tries to clear it, banks off of her teammate. Lipinski, an errant header right there, trying to keep the ball in play. She's given a chance here to Ross Kelly. Over to the right side. Diaz trying to cut it onto her left. Diaz is going to take a rip from there, but on a couple of hops, it's into the breadbasket of Alyssa Warner.
Yeah, Diaz does a nice job getting the foot on it, but Warner positioned well.
And Diaz, along with Helenihi and Tara Hansel, one of three players for Santiago Canyon, sitting on 8 goals to lead their squad. Coach Woodhead said it's Very much a workmanlike team effort. No real standout stars necessarily, although Ashley Ross Kelly vying for that. She certainly jumps off the screen. Ball in just between the legs of Renard. Klapinski trying to keep it in and does. Angela Smith battling for it here. Sliding challenge by Hansel. That'll put that out for a Mesa throw in here. Lena Samuels looking for Renard. Important work here by Iana Saenz to keep Santiago Canyon from getting back off to a run. In fact, even earns the throw in as Vanis is the last to touch. Battle here between Hannah Ross Kelly and Violet Renard. Klapinski's ball for Renard intercepted. Mesa trying to win it back. Here comes Buckley firing it forward. Knocked down by Renard and now cleared authoritatively. This coming to Vanis, so if she can get a control on it, might be able to build something, but does finally manage to win that ball back on a challenge with Jaramillo. And here comes a ball up the gut for Diaz. A little too heavy. It does seem those four front players willing to exchange position a decent bit. We saw Vanis as the isolated striker before. Diaz playing a little bit more of the advanced role and maybe even seeing them shift to more of a 4-3-3.
That's part of what you're talking about with Coach Woodhead saying that this was a team that's somewhat interchangeable.
Vanis forward to the half moon. Almost gets to Hansel after a touch from Schwadell. Saenz, rather. Long drives only as far as Ross Kelly does a good job to kill that. Center circle, Kendra Korth looking to pick out a pass. Violet Renard center circle looking for the run on the diagonal of Klapinski, cut off at the point of attack.
Man, we had a good look from right in front of us there, the slick conditions as that ball skips past and out of play and goes back to San Diego Mesa. So both teams dealing not with a steady rain, it's kind of off and on, but still a slick field.
Indeed. Another call from the stands at least for a handball, and again, Miss Moose says nope. Felt that one came ball to hand more than anything else. It's a nice attempt to play on Angela Smith. It's a bit too central. Alba Diaz will cut that off and fire it, almost destined for our broadcast position right here.
Right to you, Joe.
Nikki Miranda re-entering here, and I think it's going to be Lena Samuels taking her leave for a moment. So Beltran Mendoza, who came in and originally replaced Nikki Miranda, is, as we said, the scorer of possibly the goal of the tournament. A 35-yard bomb from the right wing that buried itself in the top left corner to win the game against San Bernardino Valley.
Unbelievable highlight.
You can take a look at that one on San Diego Mesa's Instagram. So meanwhile, for Canyon, Emma Carton into the game. This is her first action since round one. I wonder what Coach Woodhead might be seeing that leads him to insert her into the action when she's been idle for this long. Throw into the chest of Klapinski. Back now to Smith. Trying to play those short passes here. As we said, though, with the team speed of Santiago Canyon, a bit of a dangerous game, and Gigi Soto nearly taking that off the foot of Saenz. Nearly proving me prophetic, and here does come the turnover. Caitlin Lopez from between the legs of Klapinski. Won't be able to run a bona fide counterattack here, though, and it's taken away, and now Mesa will try to go the other way.
Yeah, Santiago Canyon at this point more than content to really challenge on the ball. It's going to be up to San Diego Mesa to try and maybe drop a pass into space, get something behind to try and create an opportunity.
It was finding space on the wings that really altered the trajectory of their game against Tahoe. Seen a few too many giveaways for them at this point. Renard looking for that diagonal run. We'll see if Ravello can get it to stick to her foot. Not quite. Clearance as far as Soto. Claimed now by Beltran Mendoza. Forward for Smith. One touch, tried to play into the center, nearly favored Renard with the half clearance. A good chase down there from the 18, Kendra Korth, sticking to Renard all the way up the pitch. About 18 minutes left here in our first half from Cupertino. Ball put up the left side here. The flag stays down. It's Tara Hansel from the opposite side now, trying to get free and find space for a cross. She will find it, but nobody running into the space there. CC Rogair, who came in for her first action today, not making the run at that point.
A hard drive, but nobody home on the centering pass. And missed opportunity for Canyon, I should say.
Yeah, we have one of each of those in in Southern California.
Right.
Nice little step over by Ravello to get free, and she finds some space and some joy. Now tries to get off the shoulder of Alba Diaz, who reaches a foot in, able to poke it away. We'll see if Ravello goes into protection mode, and she does, to earn another corner kick, third of the day for San Diego Mesa. Here in minute number 28, looking to break the deadlock.
This is what you're looking for if you're San Diego Mesa, an opportunity here to set something up. See if they could get this one in the direction of Renard.
It'll be the substitute right back, Nye Beltran-Mendoza, over to take this from the right side. Outswinger to be expected as San Diego Mesa crowd the left side of the penalty area. Comes the ball in from Mendoza, looking for Radia. That is going to meet someone's head. Trying to serve it back in is Ravello. Smith rather. And finally cleared here, and perhaps looking to spring will be San Diego Canyon. Way offside, however, is Rogair. She thought about going passive, but the flag already up on this side from Devlin Creighton.
Yeah, Rogair gets caught a little bit out of position. Something of no man's land and couldn't get back in time.
Yeah, freshman forward out of Edison. Not quite able to hold the run. It's a decent looking chance starting to develop there, but just a little overexcited. Nicole Buckley will bomb this deep as we approach the final quarter of an hour of our first frame. Rogair tucked back in, will clear that. Errant attempt to clear, though, by Emma Carton. Popped up, Soto trying to bring it down and give them a chance to play. And they do have someone, Rogair, trying to work her way out to the right side. Good work by Klapinski to get stuck in, and now the clearance into the direction of Renard. Second opportunity after the first clearance from San Diego Canyon, but that's going to be too deep. Claimed underneath the slightly foreboding-looking clouds over the parking garage by Ariana Radia. Klapinski, Renard, now Jaramillo. Trying to spray this to the wing. Cutting it off there is Maddie Myers. Gets stuck in the challenge and takes 3 bites at the apple, but finally Maddie Myers able to close that down, and Canyon looked to spring again. Soto looking for the diagonal run from the left side for Carton, cut off by a slide from Iana Sainz. According to Coach Curran, the best one-on-one defender he's got, and to his thinking, possibly one of the fastest women in the 3C2A. Iana Sainz getting in to break that attack up.
Wearing a noticeable wrap on her thigh, so perhaps under normal conditions even faster than we're seeing today.
Schwadell now trying to close down Hansel at the left side. Emma Carton trying to put a ball into the top of the 18, nothing doing. Mesa with a little bit more room to build here. Klapinski, great work to step around Ashley Ross-Kelly. A ball out to the left wing for Renard. We'll see if that's going to sit for her on the slick surface. She is at full sprint. Alba Diaz also challenging. And the final touch as they come together at the very end apparently off of White.
That's a great close by Alba Diaz, as it looked momentarily as though Renard was going to be able to retrieve that ball in space.
And Renard just as comfortable as anybody, even as a by-name center forward, getting herself into space on the wings and trying to beat a defender on the dribble. Yasmin Ortega re-entering for the Olympians, and Miranda Lopez into the game for her first action for San Diego Canyon. So Lopez actually the only remaining starter from the semifinal and final last year on the Santiago Canyon roster. They also had Korth and Hannah Ross Kelly and Tara Hansel involved in both of the games as substitutes. Going to spring another direct attack, but Iana Sainz is wise to it. Ravello, though, even for her height, beaten to the header by Maddie Myers. Serve now over to the right side near the player benches. The rain begins to fall again.
Talked about the first meeting of the season between these two teams, and you had the sense early that San Diego Mesa may be a little back on their heels against the speed of Santiago Canyon, but as you so often see, they're starting to adjust to that speed, starting to get a little more aggressive on that back line.
And one might imagine, too, on a wet field that the legs get heavier a little quicker for a team that is built on speed and attack, that perhaps these last 13 minutes might see what it's taken out of them. Perhaps an explanation for why we're seeing so much more in the way of substitutions than we usually do from Canyon. Stepping up to try to reclaim the ball, Yasmin Ortega. Goes back to the back line, though, here under the raindrops. Roger able to win a couple of challenges. Now works out to the right wing. Not able to earn anything from that, though. Last touched by Blue.
It's probably the strongest rainfall that we've had since the start of the game.
Now just a little bit of spit coming down roughly around the 20th minute, and then cleared up for a little while. So it's going to be off and on throughout the morning and early afternoon here in Cupertino. Ball right back to Warner. Another 11 minutes to try to break the deadlock, although as we mentioned, as of late for San Diego Mesa, despite their enormous goal differential for the season as a whole, 109 goals scored, 9 conceded. Here in the postseason, they've been going to the 80th minute at 0-0 semi-regularly. Nicole Buckley does well to split a double team. Works the ball now to the feet of Renard. Good idea on the 1-2 for Buckley, but it's not quite going to sit for her. Radia out to dive onto it. Nicole Buckley, largely a holding midfielder. You've got to like the willingness in a play like that to continue that run. Get into maybe a slightly uncomfortable situation, but not completely unheard of her for her to score. 8 goals and 2 assists on the season. Comes a rip from distance by Carton, partially deflected by a Mesa defender. Back to Ashley Ross Kelly. Hansel now in the corner trying to pull a ball back. That'll be knocked down by Sainz. Comes a drive, takes a bit of a deflection. That's going to come free. Hansel taking rip from the right, but that's wide and a little high. It felt in the early going like we were seeing a bit more in the way of Canyon trying to get people in front of goal for some of those crosses that were coming from the wings. They've been a little less aggressive here in the last 10 minutes, and we've had a couple of opportunities for Hansel or for Roger where one of them's gotten into a good spot on the wing, ready to put in a cross, and the nearest attacker is standing at the half moon. Ortega forward for Klapinski, rides the challenge there from the 11, Caitlin Lopez.
That was a nice job by Klapinski to hold her feet.
Especially on the slick field.
Yeah.
Sainz warding off the arrival of Roger and giving Warner a chance to get there.
You see Warner all the way out at the top of the box.
As you pointed out, that aggression, not something we saw Friday, but certainly a very reasonable reaction to the game plan of Canyon. Emma Carton able to hold a ball in play, drops that off for Soto. Forward now, top left corner of the box. Hansel trying to get turned on Schwadell. Hansel putting in the cross. Roger in position this time, pops that way up in the air, but Warner able to catch comfortably. So just as I say, they're having a hard time getting attackers into the right positions for those crosses. They seem to address that in the very next attack. Ross Kelly fed by Carton. Back to Carton now. Carton taking a rip from distance, a little bit of a desperate shot in that case.
Yeah, second time in the last couple minutes we've seen Carton elect to take a shot from about 25 yards out.
Carton on the season with 3 goals and 2 assists. Meanwhile, we've got an injury here. Caitlin Lopez, who seemed to pick up a little bit of a knock in that collision with Klapinski earlier, where we were lauding Klapinski for staying on her feet. I thought I saw a little bit of a limp as she pulled away from that, and so she hits the deck. Will be tended to by the training staff. So with about 8 minutes left here, the story to this point, if we had to pick something, what do you think?
Well, I think at least one storyline is Alyssa Warner in goal, having to make a couple of big saves in the early minutes, and you have the decided feeling with the tactics being employed here that one goal is going to be huge here in this particular matchup. Two teams that do a great job defensively, so the goalkeeper, a huge storyline right now.
Absolutely, and far less tested at the other end is Radia. Over on the Santiago Canyon defensive side, their back line has generally been doing the hard work and keeping Radia from being tested. And Mesa have had a couple of nice incursions over into the wings, but yet to really put a good piece of service in. Maybe a touch of what might start to unlock that little interplay we saw about 5 minutes ago between Renard and Buckley, sending an unexpected runner. They're very much keying on Renard.
Well, the pressure on the ball is evident from Santiago Canyon, and obviously one way to defeat that is with timing passes and getting passes into space. We'll see if Mesa elects to make that adjustment. It looks like, as you say, they have in the last 15-20 minutes here in this first half.
And certainly halftime adjustments, the story of Mesa's win on Friday, so we'll see if they're able to do the same here. Lopez off the field. Ball in possession right now of the other Lopez, Miranda. Putting it over to the left side, looking for Carton. She gets locked into a battle with Beltran Mendoza. Ortega trying to hold on to possession for San Diego Mesa. Touched and kept in play by Canyon. Pressure relieved for a moment, but served straight back in, looking for the 2 attacking players. Collision there between Dantu and the recent substitute, the 6, Alexis Evans. Evans seeing her first action of the postseason here in relief of the injured Caitlin Lopez.
And there you see the long pass looking for Dantu, but too strong in Radia. Out.
Dantu 12 goals on the season, but not quite the same factor in the postseason that she has been throughout the regular. Just the 1 assist. Ball out here on the near sideline.
Back at the pitch for the Hawks. 21, Hannah Ross Kelly. 23, Chloe
Helenihi and Hannah Ross Kelly from the starting lineup back in. That will send Miranda Lopez and it appears Tara Hansel to the bench.
Number 6, Elena Jaramillo, along with number 18, Lena Samuels.
Jaramillo and Samuels back into the match as well for San Diego Mesa. They look to get their top personnel out for the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds of half number 1.
With a little bit of stoppage time.
Naturally.
Not much, though.
Yeah, just the one injury, really. We haven't seen much in the way of any other stoppages so far. Nicole Buckley in the center there, getting it to Jaramillo on the right. Trying to get turned is Ravello. A double team comes. She's able to escape that, though, and work a ball to Ortega. And now an immediate refeed down the right wing for Jaramillo. Good opportunity. 2 runners inside the box. Here comes the ball into the side netting. Can't quite wrap the foot around it. But again, that quick interplay, the fast passes to try to unlock an opportunity down the wing this time.
And it highlights a difference that we've seen in this first half on the attack, is there you saw a hard-charging Dantu in the center trying to anticipate that centering pass for San Diego Mesa.
Back in possession here, stepping up through the sliding challenge. Renard able to work that over to the right. Collision at that side, no foul given. Jaramillo pops back up, but a throw in the attacking third here for Mesa.
It's such a dangerous time in the men's semifinal on Friday between Cerritos and Fresno City College in a very similar dynamic. It was very late in the first half. Fresno City, off a set piece, was able to take the 1-0 lead that they would make stand up on a header by Michael Vega. But you get the feeling, very, very important time, especially for Santiago Canyon. They've really had more time on attack in this first half, but this last few minutes can be so dangerous. Takes one lapse.
One ball by the 6 Evans there in the back line, able to reflect that and keep Dantu from getting to it despite the size disadvantage. Good positioning by her. Ball forward by Diaz, looking for Helenihi. Trying to split 2 defenders, but able to chase it back down there are Samuels and Signs. Diaz again, dribbling forward, has it on her left. She's going to take rip, but wide right.
Is this a tactical adjustment, or is it a small measure of frustration developing, because that's another shot from outside the box, electing not to continue the attack and try and get a more high percentage shot, but instead electing to rip from about 25 yards out.
As we said, most of the times they've worked their way into the box, it's been off a bomb pass, something coming out of the midfield. Once they've gotten themselves into the wings, they've had a hard time getting people ready to run in. Here's a 3-on-3 coming, now 3-on-4 as Evans drops in. Dantu over to the right side, a little bit of a mishandle by Ravello, able to get back onto it, challenged by Maddie Myers. A couple of rollovers to get free, now puts a ball in and again against the back wall.
Well, it all started with a pass that was a little bit behind Ravello. Had a little bit of difficulty finding the handle, able to get control again, but then just had to launch from about 30 yards.
Yeah, by that point, the moment and the geometry probably very different than it had been if the first pass had been a little cleaner. Now looking for a counterattack at the other end is Brianna Diaz, and she is dusting the defense for speed, working on Iana Signs. Here comes the shot in again, pulled wide right.
Boy, had Rogue Hair streaking from the near side up as well, and that was a huge opportunity for a counter. Diaz elected to go for the shot, but pulled it a little bit wide.
Yeah, Roguer with a little bit of room there. Again, maybe the question of whether she had held her run on side at that point. Had an issue with that a little bit earlier on a promising counterattack as well. Nice flick by Renard to find Dantu, and now she'll hoof this deep and give the San Diego Mesa attack a chance to run up on the back line of Canyon. Turns out to be a good decision, and Dantu takes it away from Alba Diaz, trying to roll this to feet. Jaramillo finds an unmarked Nicole Buckley. Buckley thinking about taking a rip and just cannot make the right contact, and you can see they're very unhappy with herself. Got an awful lot of the cork fill here at the Dianza field.
Yeah, she made pretty good contact with the ground on that one, but another counter is coming both ways now here in this last few minutes.
Another bit of a mishit there. I do not think that is where Maddie Myers wanted that ball to go. CC Roguer having to pull all the way back in order to reclaim it. And trying to suffocate this attempt in the midfield, but it does fall to the feet of Gigi Soto. Over to the right side now, Roguer trying to feed Diaz. Good work to close that out from Iana Sainz. Ball played out in an attacking zone throw-in here as we are in first half stoppage time. Ball played in by Evans, cleared here, and now to the feet of Ross Kelly, 30 yards from goal, and she will again try the deep shot. I'm tempted to agree with you, just a bit of frustration here. Had a couple of counterattacks from long balls that have been snuffed out by Warner and her aggression. They've had a tough time getting numbers in the box when they've gotten onto the wings, and they're settling for shots that seem pretty low percentage at this point. On the other side, here's Renard. Wow, what a bit of flexibility to get onto that ball. Sliding challenge coming from Kendra Korth. That is meaty. That ends that attack opportunity right there. The flag up as Brianna Diaz had drifted to an offside position. I don't think Samantha Moose has seen it. She does finally whistle this to a close. Diaz coming back from an offside position. Sure looked good once she got into possession of the ball, but that's not the moment that matters, though. So here in the second minute of stoppage time in our first half. Nicole Buckley driving a ball deep as Mesa look for the flick on by Renard. Renard, after Dantu holds it up, able to get back onto it. Renard hits the deck under a challenge from Alexis Evans. Nothing given.
Yeah, under a challenge from about 3 blue jerseys.
Indeed, and that is going to bring our first half to a close. So definitely a stronger response here towards the end from San Diego Mesa for all the difficulty they were having penning in San Diego Canyon in the early going. Able to express themselves a little more effectively. As we saw, those quick interplays seem to be the key to unlocking that. I'm sure they're going to be looking to do a bit more of that in the second frame.
Yeah, it shapes up to be a fascinating second half as San Diego Mesa appearing to find their footing. There's an ebb and flow here with, I think, San Diego Canyon having the better of it in the first portions of that first half, and Mesa now heading into halftime looking like maybe they're starting to gain the upper hand, but momentum, of course, so fickle, it just takes one big play. So looking forward to the second half here. Should be very exciting. All
right, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes from the campus of De Anza College here in Cupertino, the 3C2A Women's State Championship match here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. CCCAA Women's State Final again coming back to you here. Second half about to get underway between Santiago Canyon and San Diego Mesa. It's a scoreless game here at the break, but a lot of opportunities down the stretch. First off, Santiago Canyon looking great in the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, forcing a lot of aggression out of the Mesa keeper, Alyssa Warner, just to kind of snuff out a few really promising counterattacks. And then in the later going, San Diego Mesa beginning to grow into the game, a few quick interplays starting to unlock the back line of Canyon and giving Ariana Radia a little bit more to do. Joe Hickey here again, joined by Jeff Stoyanov. It'll be Santiago Canyon getting us back underway here in just a moment. The rains pretty steady through halftime, but seem to have come to a stop for us for gameplay. So they've soaked the field, but not necessarily the players.
A little cooperation from the weather.
We'll take whatever we can get at this point.
Right.
And Samantha Moose brings us back underway here. An immediate attempt to attack down the right wing with a long ball, or at the very least put some pressure on in that wing. Dealt with by the Mesa defense. They try to spring. Here comes the long boot of Kendra Korth. That ball carries past the arrival of Helenihi. Now Brianna Diaz in on pressure. Forces a errant ball forward by Lena Samuels. Throw in to come here in the attacking third for Santiago Canyon. Maddie Myers putting this into the corner here for Brianna Diaz, trying to get turned around the pressure of Samuels. Gets it onto her right. Here comes an inviting ball in, met with the head of Tara Hansel inside the 6, but over the top of the crossbar.
Well executed here by Diaz, turning away from the pressure and puts one right at the 6-yard line. But Hansel can't quite direct it on goal.
Goal kick handled by Santiago Canyon. Pressure coming from Mesa to try to take it away, and they do. Alba Diaz reflects that, and Canyon will look to build again. Nice ball ladled over the right side for Diaz. She's inside the 18, warded off by Iana Sainz. Gives away a corner kick here. Again, these so dangerous for Santiago Canyon. They've got a good bit of size up there. Tara Hansel in particular, well, a handful to deal with. She camps herself right now at the edge of the 18, looking for an aggressive run. Again, Diaz's ball falling over the head of Kendra Korth. That's going to fall to Gigi Soto. Can't quite get it onto her right for a shot. Her ball forward is going to find the corner taker, Diaz, in offside position. Her ball along the ground actually ends up in the back of the net. So 2 minutes in so far. Canyon having a bit more luck just holding on to the ball here in the wet conditions.
Starting to mirror the start of the game in which Canyon spent the majority of the time on attack over the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Indeed. This time perhaps it'll be Canyon that's making the adjustment. Korth, again, the long ball. This time, though, no runners in, and Warner will comfortably grab that inside her own 6. Mesa starting with Ari Ravello on the field to begin here, and she's the one who feeds Renard, now looking to refeed the 4 in white. Good comeback by Myers to take the ball away as Kendra Korth had largely occupied Ravello. Samuels having a little trouble getting it out of her own feet. Favors the deflection from Helenihi. Ball back in possession of Canyon. Soto's first touch, not quite what she was looking for. Samuels back to Schwadell. Samuels trying to get by the arrival of Soto. Earns a throw in here. So it is Ravello, Renard, and Klapinski from right to left in the front line right now. Kenya Dantu starting the second half on the bench. So one substitute in the game at the moment for Canyon appears to be Soto. Otherwise, it's largely as you were at the beginning of today's match. Ortega able to get around the challenge of Soto. Samuels, Ortega, Soto again trying to challenge. Again, Ortega the better. Throw in controlled by Canyon. Little layoff right there gave Ravello a chance to get into it, and you hear the crowd, a deep inhalation of breath on both sides. Ortega not able to get through the challenge of Myers, and here's a ball over the right wing, hoping to play on Samuels, a little too vertical, a little too strong. Breed Diaz playing the hold-up role expertly at the midfield stripe, allowing Canyon to come forward. But look out here. This ball back towards the keeper is going to require a desperate clearance by Radia. Renard with a chance to get onto that if she hadn't been quite so decisive in coming out.
Watch on the replay, and good read by Renard off that pass, trying to lay it back, and Radia just wins the race.
In the meanwhile, an attempt to earn a corner kick in the right corner, unsuccessful.
We don't have anything, right? We don't have it. I think it's not working.
What's not working?
Yeah, we have like the screen on this.
Ball driven up the right sideline here off the goal kick. Handled though by Nikki Miranda, full-time student at both San Diego Mesa and UCSD. Works the ball forward looking for Renard. That gets through her in the first line of defense. Ravello now in a challenge with Myers. Sliding clearance will keep the ball in play. Helenihi tracking back. Samuels does well to earn a Mesa throw in here. No, apparently they've decided the other way.
Well, I'm not sure what the call was there, but that definitely looked like it went off of Helenihi.
Of course, on the other side, they're calling for a delay of game sanctioning. I don't think that was malicious. I don't think they were trying to waste time. Why would you in a 0-0 game?
It's never going to stop you from taking a shot, though, if you're in the stands. See
Sure.
Call your way.
Ball taken off the foot of Nikki Miranda, and now trying to get off to a run is Tara Hansel. Two Mesa defenders trailing her. She puts it wide to the right wing for Diaz. Can she get there before it goes out of play? Indeed she can. Holds it in with her first touch. Now tries to put in a cross. That is met at the edge of the 6. Hannah Ross-Kelly trying to serve another ball in. That one's got too much juice on it and will eventually bounce over the end line.
Good pressure from Klipinski initially on Diaz. Sped up that play, and Santiago Canyon really couldn't mount much of an attack.
You really have to be willing to go essentially end line to end line as a midfielder against a team like Canyon. You got to tuck yourself in and do that defensive work sometimes too. As much as Klipinski's bread and butter is her being up front in the left wing, putting in assists. She's done it now 19 times on the season to lead all California helpers. Brianna Diaz using the body to ward off Schwadell and now hoops it over her shoulder to try to find Soto. Soto able to block the initial clearance from Iana Sainz. Secondary clearance comes to Ravello. Can't quite get that moving forward though. Canyon back on it. Soto. Deflected out and an attacking zone throw-in to come here for the Hawks. To say in the early going, Brianna Diaz, I think, really the brightest player we're seeing. Fine working on either of the wings. Put in a couple of dangerous balls off corner kicks. Here comes a long throw from Caitlin Lopez into the edge of the 18. Headed on towards the half moon. Hannah Ross-Kelly not able to settle it, and now Caitlin Klipinski trying to get San Diego Mesa off to a run. Works it to the midfield stripe. Tries to turn Myers inside out. Here's a ball forward for Renard, but it's going to come all the way to Ravello, who's unmarked. Ravello, edge of the 18 on the right side. Ravello, the cross in, nearly finds Renard, pops up on her. Arriving from the back line is Buckley. She won't be able to get a shot away. Now it comes to Miranda, tries to push it down the right wing, but Ravello not ready for it. And over the end line it goes.
Just that close for Renard. In the box, receiving that pass, and couldn't find the handle to get a shot off.
Certainly tied up there in a challenge, I believe, with Jacqueline Alba Diaz, whose job it has been throughout the opening 54 minutes to keep an eye on the 19 in white. Possibly the most remarkable thing down the stretch for Mesa in the semifinal in the last round on Friday was the composure that Renard showed on the ball. A couple of times in the first half, Coach Curran mentioned that she was really rushing it, maybe letting the moment get a bit the better of her. And they told her, just calm down, take that extra touch. You know you get good touches on the ball. And give yourself an opportunity to find a little bit more space. And twice in the final 6 minutes or so, she cut a ball back as she was working left, cut herself back to the right, found an open window. In one case, denied with a crazy toe poke save by Maddie Smith of Lake Tahoe, unable to put them on the board at that point. And then a minute later, able to find the service to create the opening goal. Caitlin Klapinski served down the left side. She manages to ride a challenge with Lopez, puts a ball in towards the 6. Renard a little late arriving. Radia out to claim. It's another great ball out of the right side, looking to find Tara Hansel. That's touched by Sainz. Out comes Warner, and she's forced to play that. I think it took a deflection off someone. We will see who. Apparently off her own defender. A throw in here from the corner flag. Or perhaps just off Warner herself right there, as she, Sainz, and Hansel all arrived simultaneously. An important challenge there as Sainz' original attempted clearance, or perhaps trying to play it back to Warner, just did not quite have the calibration.
Yeah, the pass a little soft, and that bought a couple of extra moments for Hansel to get in there, and it was Warner just able to get there in time and ended up playing it out.
Tara Hansel turning and spinning, trying to put a ball on frame. That's high and wide. I think we got to look over on the far right sideline at Maddie Myers trying desperately to figure out how to do a long throw in with that little space to work with, and also a little bit of topography over there, come to think of it. Approaching a quarter of an hour into half number 2. We remain scoreless here, but certainly not for lack of trying. Brianna Diaz uses the body to create some space. Now looks to put in a cross, earns a corner. Schwadell with the last touch as it goes out of play. That'll again bring Diaz in.
Diaz reminds me of Renard. You talked about the ball control in the sense that they both use their frame so well to ward off a defender and then have good feet to maintain control. And Diaz, they're able to earn a corner kick.
Honestly seems almost unfair to have both of that going on. Here's the ball in, reflected right back to the corner taker. Diaz has a moment, takes a touch, puts this into the 6. The header, Hansel! Goal! Santiago Canyon draw first blood in minute number 58. Tara Hansel, the header, Diaz, the assist.
All starts with a great feed into the center by Diaz. Take a look at this one more time. Too much time for Diaz. And it's Hansel right on the doorstep. No chance for Warner.
It was something we saw a couple of times on Friday. It's that second opportunity, either off of a set piece or off an initial build-up, where the defense is still a little bit at 6s and 7s, trying to figure out who's my mark, who am I in charge of, after just taking the foot off the gas pedal, and Hansel got way too much space for somebody her size.
Well, you talked at the top when we were discussing this. San Diego Mesa doesn't technically have a loss on the field on the season. The one loss, an administrative error, going back early in the season.
Look out here, Radia not able to get onto that ball, pinging around inside the 18.
So it's good news, bad news, a measure of adversity here, certainly as you're trailing. But, of course, the other side of that, the good news is San Diego Mesa has been in tight games throughout this postseason.
Absolutely. In fact, they trailed all the way down into 3 or 4 minutes into stoppage time in the first round. They look to build back in. Here's the ball in. A little bit of trouble for Radia settling that, but she does eventually get control. Yeah, for certain, Coach Curran's women are not going to believe that this is over until that third whistle comes about.
And still plenty of time here in the 60th minute.
Absolutely. Violet Renard hitting the deck. Here's an opportunity, though. Klapinski fed nicely out of the midfield. Tries to put a ball forward, takes a deflection. We'll see if she can beat Alba Diaz to it.
Yes, Soto getting into that passing lane for Santiago Canyon.
Some really good minutes from Soto actually off the bench. I don't know that her touch has quite been what she's wanted a lot of the time, but certainly in terms of reading passing lanes, getting in the way, breaking up Mesa's attempts to build their attack, she's provided valuable minutes. Comes the toss, looking inside the box for Ortega. Reflected, and Miranda will throw it back in, looking to do it quickly, perhaps trying to find their own second chance attack. Now make it third chance.
Yeah, it's Caitlin Lopez. A couple times saying, get that out of here.
Trying to clear it. Gigi Soto this time sticks nicely to her foot, but two defenders crash in on her. Renard. Wow.
A lot of contact.
I'm going to have to appeal to Emery Johnson on this one here. What do we call that particular move? Our martial arts expert.
It's a single leg takedown.
A single leg takedown. All right, then.
I knew he'd know.
In terms of jiu-jitsu, I don't know if that was jiu-jitsu. It might be soccer-itsu or something like that.
Ball in possession of San Diego Mesa as they continue to look to build their way back into this game. Certainly had the better of the late going in the first half as the throw-in is called back for them to operate a substitution. Kenya Dantu will come in.
Back on the pitch for the Olympians. Number 15.
The dulcet tones of Matt Folsom's baritone letting us know that Kenya Dantu back in. And gives us the full starting lineup back in the game for San Diego Mesa. Toss to the chest of Jaramillo. Ortega trying to find an immediate run for Dantu. Not a bad idea. Managed to hold herself onside, but the ball just a bit too long. Seems here as Mesa try to find their way back into the game. We haven't seen a ton of the overlap from their outside backs that Coach Curran talked about with me as we discussed the build-up for the semifinal and the final. So the movement off the ball and the attempt to get numbers forward, perhaps the threat of those San Diego Canyon counterattacks discouraging that. That is some fantastic on-the-ball skill from Jacqueline Alba Diaz. Rolls that to the feet. The 25, Bumgarner, in for her first action. Tara Hansel trying to earn a corner kick. Good work by Sainz to hold her up and avoid the deflection carrying over the back line.
You know, Joe, we've had a lot of opportunity to talk about the offense for Santiago Canyon. But it's worth noting here, talking about the enormity of this challenge for San Diego Mesa. Santiago Canyon has not allowed a goal in the postseason, so a 1-0 lead stands quite large.
And it's quite remarkable, actually, that Mesa, that's just the 10th goal they've conceded, but 3 of those have come in the playoffs. Canyon, by contrast, not even a top 10 team in defense in the state, but as you said, clean sheet.
Maybe just getting hot at the right time.
Exactly, and that was precisely what Ian Wood had told us he was hoping for from his team. It's not been anything like the run of utter dominance that they had last year when they went a perfect 24-0 and won the state championship. So take a look here on the replay. We've got a woman down. Ow! It's like spikes across the shin for Nikki Miranda, and she's a little slow to get back to her feet. She is back up, though. Glad to see she's okay. A couple of years ago, the team that I follow on a regular basis lost a player to a broken leg on a play just like that. It's a ball in for Helenihi, and out comes Warner, the slide challenge, and denies Helenihi the chance at the doorstep.
Yeah, loose ball in front, and Hansel was in the area.
Yeah, every bit as important, the eventual clearance that came after this. Warner able to deny Helenihi, and then it's Elena Jaramillo getting onto that to avoid any further scares.
Yeah, just that close to some insurance if you're Santiago Canyon.
And certainly not far enough into this to be desperately seeking an equalizer just yet, but getting a little bit unbalanced perhaps. 25 minutes to go, 1-0, Canyon leading. Again, that goal from Tara Hansel on the Brianna Diaz assist on the developments of a corner kick.
Taking in for Santiago Canyon. Number 16, Alex Vanus.
So Alex Vanus back into the game in place of the goal scorer Hansel, who gets her plaudits on the bench as she takes a breather. Comes the long throw in from Maddie Myers, popped up by the chest of Vanus. Knocked around here, Carbajal, and that is going to be fired from the right edge of the box by Ashley Ross-Kelly. No problem for Warner that time, though. Klapinski getting stuck in against Myers. Out and last touched by the 13 in blue. Throw in to come here for Mesa as they look to build something. And we remember those little quick touches they had to try to unlock the back line. It seems like they need to dial up a little bit more of that.
With the pressure on the ball that Santiago Canyon brings, and it makes it so difficult to do.
You're not generally going to have the time to take 2 touches and then find your intended target the way they're currently pressing. Ball forward for Dantu. Nice first touch, and she tries to get off the shoulder of Lopez. Lopez looks to have closed the gap, though. Rolls that up the sideline, reclaimed by Angela Smith, who's come in, one of those substitutes that has had late game-changing goals here in the postseason for San Diego Mesa. Carbajal, a sliding challenge, trying to take the ball away from Dantu, and appears to have committed a foul. And here, a very inviting position for a free kick.
Yeah, it's a dangerous spot to give up a free kick. This one can easily be sent into the box.
Iana Sainz and Nicole Buckley walking over to it. Looks like it will be 3 in the wall. For San Diego Mesa, 6 players circulating near the edge of the 18. It appears it will be Buckley that's going to take it. It's low service, edging towards the 6-yard box and rolls to Radia before anyone can beat her to it.
And with Renard and Dantu right there, obviously high stakes for Radia, and she needs to come up with that ball cleanly, and she does.
Yeah, just like we saw at the other end with Warner, not a good idea to give them a second bite. Carbajal hits the deck. No foul given, though. Mesa back in possession. Dantu not quite able to drag it through Caitlin Lopez. One of 4 freshman outfield players in this starting lineup. Lopez coming out of El Dorado. 1 assist on the season, but a lot of hard work in that back line. She's been very active in this early going of the second half. Well, not even early going anymore. We're at minute number 70 at this point.
Let's go one more. Let's go, Hawks.
Kendra Korth putting a ball over to the left wing. Brianna Diaz not able to get there. The eventual cross lands on top of the goal. That'll free up time for a quick substitution here for Santiago Canyon. Mesa here trailing for only the second time in the playoffs. And that first time was for about 5 minutes, but they were 5 minutes of utter terror.
You go back to Friday, and it was Canyon that took the lead very early on, so 15th, 20th minute?
20th minute, yes.
20th minute, so held the 1-0 lead against, was it San Joaquin Delta?
Indeed. A little opportunity here. Helenihi trying to get it over to Carbajal, cut off from in front of her. The ball put in by Miranda Lopez, deflected by the Mesa defense. Battle between Carbajal and Nikki Miranda, and that's going to be a really inviting free kick now for Santiago Canyon. You'd imagine if she is still out there on the field, indeed, the 24, Brianna Diaz, will look at this as a corner kick with slightly different geometry.
Yeah, Carbajal hitting the deck similar to the way she did a couple of minutes ago. That time, clearly pushed from behind, and that gets the foul call.
Using Kenya Dantu's height to try to force the trajectory here from Diaz. From the right side, here comes the free kick. Floating into the 18, headed away from the near post. Angela Smith prolongs it. Yasmin Ortega trying to get onto it. Looks to feed Dantu up the left wing. Picked off, though. Caitlin Lopez now nearing the byline. Her last touch, though, will carry it off of a San Diego Mesa player and out for a corner.
And Diaz with a great play defensively, stifling that potential counter. Stepping in for the clean steal. And out of that, Santiago Canyon gets the corner kick.
Thus far in the postseason, both of Canyon's goals have come on the developments of corners. An own goal off of a Ross Kelly header, and then the second bite at the apple. Here's Diaz serving this in from the right side, looking for friendly heads. Hits Ross Kelly! Goal! Ashley Ross Kelly. We thought she had one yesterday. This time there is no doubt. She gets the head to it. She's got a huge goal here for insurance. And with 18 minutes left, Canyon seemed to have a hand on the trophy.
And once again, can you drop it in any better if you're Diaz?
2 assists here in the final. Diaz, the leading assist woman for this team, and she created all 3 goal-scoring opportunities this weekend here in Cupertino. 12 assists officially, although you kind of feel like she earned number 13 on the own goal. It was a Ross Kelly header in the 20th minute on Friday that was deflected in by Diana Hernandez of San Joaquin Delta for an own goal. But Diaz would at this point have my vote, I think, for MVP of the women's tournament. She has come up huge on set pieces. Now needing to press and unbalance themselves up front. First time they've trailed by 2 here in the postseason. Might well be the first time they've trailed by 2 all year.
Santiago Canyon goal. 72nd minute. Ashley Ross Kelly from 3 Diaz. Ross Kelly from Diaz.
So a pair of set-piece goals, albeit one of them coming on the second opportunity after the first clearance. And Canyon looking to remove all doubt. Here comes a ball forward looking for Helenihi. Good work by Samuels to track that and pick off the pass. It's another ball forward. This one a bit too strong for Helenihi and played back to Alyssa Warner. And it is kind of funny, given the fact that all throughout the first half and early in the second half, we were commenting on how most of the big opportunities for Canyon were coming by way of long direct bombs. Interesting that it ends up being the set pieces that finally bear fruit for them. Free kick earned practically on the far sideline. Nicole Buckley preparing to drive this deep. Falling near the three-quarter zone, Ortega able to chest that to a teammate. Jaramillo trying to find some room, rather Sainz. Cleared here after the attempted service from Ravello. Lena Samuels to chase that down. Just 3 at the back now for San Diego Mesa as they go into desperation mode in search of a lifeline into this game. A quarter of an hour left. Here's the ball forward for Helenihi. Not able to get it to stick to her foot, but neither is Jaramillo or Ortega. Good work by Ravello, though, to win the ball back. Buckley resists the arrival of Diaz. Now wide to the left side. Klapinski trying to get off to a run. Changes the point of attack to the right side for Ravello. Up steps Maddie Myers and pokes that away from her. Ravello looking like she's got a bit of a physical issue at the moment. Maddie Myers surging forward into the attack, looking to work on Iana Sainz. Myers slides this to the feet of Alex Vanis. Works her way into the corner. Myers showing for it. Now puts it down the left side. I don't think Vanis was quite expecting that. It's out the back for a goal kick.
Just because I know you're curious about these kind of things, Joe. San Diego Mesa has allowed 2 goals this season on 2 occasions versus Sierra and at Imperial Valley, but of course they won both games 3-2 against Sierra and 7-2 against Imperial Valley, so this is the largest deficit that they have faced on the season, and obviously the situation becomes desperate here if you're Mesa trailing 2-0.
Hannah Ross Kelly back into the game for San Diego Canyon. Ball headed out by Carbajal. Such a, just in terms of narrative and story arc, such an amazing thing for it to be Ashley Ross Kelly getting the goal that might tie a bow on this. Talked about her missing the 2018 season, frustrated by an injury early on and not being able to participate in a 24-0 state championship run. This season a little more difficult to get there. They've had to, as it works out, dethrone one undefeated team in the semifinal, and as you mentioned with the administrative issue, practically an undefeated team here in the final. It's certainly not done yet, but with 13 minutes left, Canyon looking at being potentially the first team to go back-to-back as women's state champions since Cerritos in a run.
Sorry, Joe, under the heading of, no, we weren't imagining it, those were the 11th and 12th assists of the season for Brianna Diaz to lead the team. So she has been a leader offensively for this team, distributing the ball.
Long drive from Kendra Korth. Ball falling near the edge of the 18. Trying to get stuck onto that was Hannah Ross Kelly. Cleared from her feet. Chased down by Caitlin Lopez. She'll drop back. Korth will try to bomb it again. This one falling in a very inviting position. Carbajal touches it on, and Warner gets to it before Vanis can poke it in. Just a meter or two from really setting off the party here in Cupertino for the San Diego Canyon faithful, making the long trip here from Orange. Ariana Ravello chased by Maddie Myers as now Violet Renard will try to work her way through a player. She gets through Alba Diaz for maybe the first time all day. Now trying to dribble her way past Kendra Korth. Foul committed, but it is by the Mesa attacker.
That's a nice job by Course slowing that play down enough for Alba Diaz to recover and drop back into the play.
And good teamwork on that back line, and that is exactly what Coach Woodhead talked to us about. It's a team built on work ethic, spreading the ball around. Although he did say they really didn't feel like they had one particular hero. As I said, I would contend that at least today, and really through the two games we've seen here, Brianna Diaz, the one who has come up enormous. Dangerous ball after dangerous ball coming from her corners and free kicks. Nikki Miranda up the left wing. Violet Renard this time hauled down by Alba Diaz. No, they've given the foul the other way. Let's have a replay of that.
Yeah. Well said.
Carbajal with what looked like a bit of a scorpion kick to get that ball to vanish. She touches it through a defender. Now looks to put a ball in the direction of net. Took a deflection, and that is out for a corner kick on the stroke of minute number 80. (2-0), the Hawks leading with a hand on retaining their 3C2A Women's Championship. If you're just joining us, both of the goals here in the second half off the heads of Tara Hansel and Ashley Ross Kelly, both assisted by Bree Diaz. This time around, Diaz not on the field to take this one. Really makes you wish they had numbers on the front of the jersey here. Ball put into the 18, headed from in front of Hansel. Comes to Miranda Lopez at the top of the box. She tries to prolong that. A little flick on inside the 18, carries to Warner at her far post. Ball back to Kendra Korth, forced by the pressure of Caitlin Klapinski to put it out the sideline for a throw-in.
In for the Olympians. Number 6, Elena Jaramillo. We have a keeper change. Now in goal. Number 1, Sarah Young.
A little bit of frustration there as Alyssa Warner throws her gloves into the air as she leaves the field. Sarah Young in her place. Elena Jaramillo also back onto the field for the Olympians.
Well,
All over to the.
It's a tough afternoon for Alyssa Warner, who has really played such an outstanding game. And the 2 goals that she allowed, really not much chance. Just great feeds right at the doorstep of the goal, and nothing she could really do, and just a frustrating day.
Yeah, and as we said, the Tara Hansel goal, largely a case of the defense losing track of her. And as for the Ashley Ross Kelly one, it was just whoever was going to want it more in that scrum. Ball taken back in the midfield by Jaramillo, rather. Slides it to Ortega. Over to the right side for Samuels. Up top, Ravello. Maddie Myers, another fantastic challenge to take a ball away. Still working on it here as it comes back to Ortega, and now fed to Ravello on the right. Touches that for the run out of the right side. It's Iana Sainz all the way up the pitch, the center back. Ravello trying to slide a ball in, did not get a deflection, and a goal kick to come here.
You watch Korth here on the slide.
Well, that is a gorgeous challenge. And I think for as much as they were conceding a lot early in the season, Santiago Canyon's defense, perhaps the biggest work in progress that progressed over the course of the season. The team giving up just 0.4 goals per game and are 9-1, make that actually 10-1 since the return of Ariana Radia from an injury at about the midway point of the season on October 25th. Free kick here to the Hawks. And again, the big leg of Kendra Korth. Double threat, close down defense, and great set pieces. Boy, that's some speed from Vanis to put a ball into the 18. Not quite settled by Helenihi, but almost managed to get it to kick to Hansel. Mesa looked to escape. That ball given away in the three-quarter zone to the 20 Hansel, but the ball in, claimed by Sarah Young, the substitute goalkeeper. Cranks this one to the midfield stripe. Sarah Young, who had put quite a mark on the early rounds. She's generally been the backup goalkeeper. She's certainly done good work in the time that she has been on the field. Just a .45 goals against average herself. That's 10th best in the state. Not so far behind number 4, Alyssa Warner, but the big mark she put on the postseason was stopping 2 penalties in the shootout against Citrus when the team had just missed penalty number 4 with the score still tied 3-3.
Back in the opening round, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
As we talked about, Mesa here in the Final Four for the first time since 2008. They hadn't made it out of the first round since then, and they only just did so this time. They managed to ride the momentum from that to unprecedented heights. They had not made a final in program history.
In a South region that had top seeds dropping like flies early on.
Indeed, both Canyon and Mesa to be lauded for not falling victim to that. Number 1 and 2 were gone after the first round. Number 4, Cerritos, the perennial challengers, they were gone after round 2. And as we heard, both of these two teams got some serious challenges in their finals. The regional finals, I should say. Took a pair of second-half goals, almost the same kind of timing, Helenihi and Vanis in the 65th and 80th to get through Santa Barbara for the Canyon team. We talked about Beltran Mendoza's 83rd minute game winner for Mesa. Comes another ball in, looking for the run out of the midfield of Hannah Ross-Kelly. Claimed here by Renard. She looks to clear it down the pitch. That'll take a deflection and go out on the sideline. And Diaz back in the game, looking to stalk another corner kick assist. Diaz takes the ball away on the right side, looking to remove all doubt. She's going to take a shot herself, and that is just wide right. Had Sarah Young at full stretch, that would have been one heck of a way to cap.
Well, Santiago Canyon's getting very close here to back-to-back championships, and if you're thinking about the possibility of 3 in a row, Brianna Diaz is just a freshman. So that's one player that could very well be back.
Diaz claims that, fires, pushed over the crossbar by Young.
Well, that was on goal. Young had to come up big.
And that's going to give Diaz another chance from the corner flag.
That's a great save.
And had some serious pace on it. Diaz, no, they're going to play it short, and at this point, rather than stalking a third goal now, they're going to look to keep the ball for the final 3 minutes plus stoppage time. Shouldn't be a ton of that. I don't think we've had much in the way of any.
Not very much at all. Obviously, here, the more you can keep it in the Mesa third, not much they're going to be able to do from this position on the field.
Yeah, the ball's got to be about 110 yards the other way for Mesa to have any chance at getting back into this. Comes the toss to the body of Ashley Ross-Kelly. Looks to maybe move that back to the corner. No, she'll leave it for Brianna Diaz. Here comes her ball in. Met by Tara Hansel. Drops that off. Here's a rip from distance from Hannah Ross-Kelly, wide left. And the Canyon faithful can smell it. It seems right now, after such a tough season, maybe the first time the Canyon have felt like they can just come out and have a little bit of fun. Ross-Kelly wins the header to the screaming approval of the Hawks fans. Hansel trying to get it back. Keep Samuels right there. Throw in here as San Diego Mesa look to approach the midfield stripe. Ball forward by Buckley. Trying to settle that as Iana Signs. They're repurposing her speed into a forward roll right now in pursuit of this. Nicole Buckley, judged to have gotten that down with her chest despite the protest of the fans. Nice work here, a 1-2. Beltran Mendoza not able to work it through a line of 3 Canyon defenders. And here comes Bree Diaz. Puts this up the right line. It's going to be a foot race between the keeper, Young, and Vanis. Young able to hoof that deep and keep it in play. Now she needs to get herself back in position as Canyon look to serve it in again. Court, the attempted clearance, banks off of a Mesa player, and now here's a long ball at the top looking to play on the speed of Ravello. Gets to it with her head and gets off the shoulder of Maddie Myers. Banks that off the 13 in blue and earns a corner kick here for Mesa. Final minute plus stoppages left. Looking for a lifeline to make this interesting. As we said, they definitely kept their season alive once already in this postseason with a late goal, but they would need 2 this time.
Yeah, it's got to start right here. This an opportunity for Mesa.
And in fact, it is the goalkeeper, Sarah Young, coming out to take it as they pack the box. Just 1 player back for San Diego Mesa. Young, back post. Over the top of just about everybody. That's going to come to Lena Samuels doing garbage duty. Looks like that ball hit Brianna Diaz in the hand. They managed to get the ball back, though. Looking to slide across in. Near Renard! Fires and Radia stops it! Still alive inside the 6. Signs trying to get to it, and it's cleared. Renard protesting. I think she believes that she absorbed a foul there as she tried to put that ball on frame. Stroke of 90 minutes. We're into stoppage time here in the women's state final. Canyon leading by 2. Mesa looking for a lifeline. Renard, the header, looking to go over the top and find the run of Jaramillo. Cut off at the edge of the 18. Canyon only able to half clear. Yasmin Ortega tries to go through the legs of a Canyon defender. No dice. Tara Hansel, challenged by Ortega, bounces off of her. Still Hansel with the sun out here in Cupertino, looking to end all doubt. Her shot from distance, wide right. And at this point, I'm sure just happy to spend a little more time.
You know, it's not a game saver with a 2-0 lead, but what a save by Radia. The shot flicked on goal by Renard, and it's just a great read to know that she had to go far post, that's where Renard would have to take that shot. Just a sensational play.
If saves nothing else, it certainly saves a few points on the blood pressure of the San Diego Canyon coaching staff as they remain up by 2 here. 1:20 gone of stoppage time. A whistle and perhaps a yellow card coming here. That's shown, I believe, to Violet Renard. If so, it would be her 3rd of the season. Clock continuing to tick down. San Diego Canyon awaiting a triple whistle and a double title. And that is going to do it. At the end of a tough year, San Diego Canyon once again, the Hawks soaring over all they survey. Your 2019 3C2A state champions. Celebrations and presentations of awards are going to get underway shortly. We will be back in a little bit with an interview with either today's MVP or with Coach Ian Woodhead. But either way, we look forward to you sticking around right here on SoCal College Sports. Your final score here in the championship game, San Diego Canyon 2, San Diego Mesa 0. And welcome back to 3C2A state final coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Wilson. We're joined here by the championship final MVP. How do you like the sound of that?
That sounds awesome.
It's Ashley Ross-Kelly from Santiago Canyon College. Ashley, a tough game today. Certainly in the late first half, a bit, maybe even a bit of frustration, some long shots coming in. But you guys seized control of that game in the second half, and this is nothing new to you. It's been a rough season overall. Tell us a little bit about how you pulled together this one last time to get it done.
Our team just came out with so much energy. You know, this season didn't go as planned, but we knew once we made this playoffs, there's nothing stopping us from going out there with so much energy and just like taking on that field and scoring those goals. And my team just and coaching staff, they just worked so hard, and this is just like an amazing feeling to be back-to-back state champions, because we've never had that. We've had a state championship, but not back-to-back, so it means the world to me and my team, and we couldn't do it without our team and coaching staff. They're off the charts amazing. That's
right. Ian Woodhead actually with a pair of championships in the 2000s, but now the back-to-backs here. So that's four rings for him. Tell us a little bit about the goal. You got the one that basically gave you guys the breathing room. You're not the biggest target out there, and yet you're the one that got to it. How did that come together?
No, you know, this season a lot of my goals came off corner kick headers. I am one of the shorter ones, so sometimes I'm not always guarded much, but I saw the ball coming and I just jumped for it and aimed it right on goal, and it was amazing. I was playing right here. Cool.
There you go. Got the replay right here on the screen. We'll take a peek. In the middle of a crowd and a scrum, your teammate Tara Hansel got herself on one by getting away from the defenders, but in that case, just a matter of getting to the tough one.
Awesome. She came across hard. She's been working her butt off this whole season, and she deserved that goal. She did awesome.
And we know you've had a rather long journey here at Santiago Canyon. So you were part of the team that fell in PKs at the semifinal 2 years ago, and then last season had to watch from the sidelines. I know you said it was a challenging year this year, but I would imagine now the question has an easy answer. Glad you got back?
I'm glad I came back. This is what I came back for. It's just such an amazing feeling. Last year was so amazing, but to be able to participate this year and play was even more amazing, and I couldn't have asked for a better season, end of season, so I'm so excited. I'm so happy right now.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to your celebrations with your teammates. Congratulations again. Ashley Ross-Kelly, MVP of the 3C2A State Women's Final. We'll be back with the men's final coming up, I believe, in about an hour, the 1:30 kickoff, and we will see you then here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.